everybody, this is Deb with Garden Devotions, and this is kind of part 2 of the pendant video. This is how to finish it up. At this point your pendant is looking something like this, and I really apologize for not getting it posted before this, but my internet connection has really been going horribly. I mean, like, it took 4 days to upload the pendant video. Seriously, it was like 34 minutes. So I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to find out, but something bizarre is going on the uploading. The downloading seems to be fine, but the uploading is really an issue. Anyway, here we're at this point. Now you'll notice that I have 3 of these that are not completely finished. That's because I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you could finish off your pendant. They're not the only 3 ways you could do it, but they are 3 options that you'll have. And you'll notice this one's just a little not really totally shaped well. Anyway, but we'll deal with that in a minute. But yeah, I'm going to show you 3 different ways, and I'm hopefully going to do this in one take, but probably not. We'll just see. But before I do that, I want to tell you, if you are going to get into jewelry, one of the things that is really helpful is once you learn a weave like this, do lots of it. And you can do it in a way so that you can produce several things. We're going to start with this one right here. This is the one we're going to use. You're going to need to have round nose pliers. Now, when I showed you originally, I had the yellow ones, but I just got these blue ones, and I think they're actually better than they don't go whopper jawed when I try to do stuff with the swirls. Yeah, I'll get it, the spirals. There, that's the word I'm looking for. You'd think a writer would be able to say words a little bit better. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have you do this first because we're going to be using this eventually on here. And what I want you to do on this is you need to get the pliers as close as you can to the end of the pliers and as close as you can to the end of the wire. And then to do a spiral, I like to put my finger on the end here because that helps it keep from moving too much. And then we bend it, we turn our pliers, and the wire goes around the round nose pliers. See, it's starting to bend. I replace my pliers going the other direction. Try to keep it, ow, ow, I just pinched myself. Try not to pinch yourself, okay? Oh, these are better than the other ones. I never pinched myself with the others. Okay, so you get it around, you try to bring it around to where it's this point, at this point, okay? Then replace your pliers like this, and just, you're twisting, you're not really moving the wire, you're twisting your pliers around and letting the wire just kind of go with it. Again, you're trying to keep it as close as you can to a spiral. Now there I kind of pull the pliers in. I'm pulling them towards this end over here so that it makes it a little rounder. And this is something you'll want to practice just a little bit of before you actually get to the other. Now you'll notice that this particular one is not flat. That's where these nylon jaw pliers come in, or you can use just regular pliers, but be careful not to scratch. And you can pull it down. Now, if you want a bigger spiral, at this point, it's really great. These nylon jaw pliers are really great. You come in, and you can just keep bending this around. See? Just bend it around. Do it again. Replace it. Bend it around. And I think one of the things you got to remember is that the spiral, the wire is going to do what you tell it to do. And when you're talking about a wire and trying to get it to bend, that's what these are all about. And yeah, I know I've got this paper towel here, but it's because I use this work surface in so many different ways, and it's brown, and I didn't think anything would show up on it, so that's why I put this on there. All right, let me do one bigger, and I can show you kind of what I mean, that you're really not forcing the wire, except you're just pushing it around. Now this is how you make bigger circles. And so you just take the wire and you push it around, and the round nose plier acts like a mandrel. By the way, when you make rings, you'll need a ring mandrel if you're going to do that. I've been working on polymer clay. It looks like I've got some polymer clay that did not get cleaned off my fingers. It happens a lot. Okay, so you know, you can make a little, kind of like a number 9 there. And that's what I did for this connector on the earring, is pretty much that. What I did was I did one of those up the top and a small one at the bottom, going the other direction. So it's like you take, this is why you save all your scraps, because really something this long you can use. In fact, this is actually too long for what I did there. So then you want to do a smaller one. You've got a smaller one right here. Again, it's kind of twisting your arm and pulling the wire around, just kind of letting the wire fall around the pliers. And so you can get hooks, which are really good when you're using polymer clay, because then it holds in the clay better. Or you can close it, and you can have a little S thing here. You could put a bead on there, and this could be like a link in a chain or something. Now, to do what I did, you need a lot less. You get better at estimating after a while. But yeah, see, I have very little left on here, but I don't need very much to do that. All I'm going to do is just give it a little boop around this direction. And that's what maybe a little bit more there. And then this one may need to be readjusted. But you can always readjust. Well, usually you can readjust. And there you have a little hook then that you can use to hook your wire on for your earrings, or even to hook onto your pendant, so your pendant has a little bit of movement too, like I did here. And you can hook put your necklace through there, or you can put some kind of jump ring on there, or however you want it. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. But you need to know how to do spirals. If you don't know how to do spirals, then take some time and practice. Okay, go back, run it back, and do that again until you know how to practice with the spirals. Okay, now for this first one that we're going to do, you're going to take your pendant, the wire weave that you did, and we're going to weave through the wires so they're every other one. Okay, let's see if you can see that. See how they're every other one? That's what you want. You want them to be every other one. And then we're going to take the one that's topmost, whichever direction. It can go either way. It doesn't matter which way they go, which one is on top. But make sure that you've got it snugged up here so that the coils are right up there at the top. We're going to take this top one, the one that is on top, and we're going to pull it back this direction and push it around. Okay? So you see what we just did? We pushed it over the top and we pulled it around. Try to get it so it's not covering your wire work here, the coils. Alright, and then we're going to trim this off. Wait a minute, I need to make sure I'm doing the right one. Oh, we're not going to trim this one. Sorry, that's a different one we're going to trim. What we're going to do is we're going to pull that one over to this side. I have a different one where we're going to pull it over. But we're pulling them over this way. It'll work for all of them. Okay, now we flip back onto the front. Now you only have 2 wires on this side, and you've got 4 over here. Okay, so this is the one we wrapped around. Ignore that. Go to the first wire, which should be the second one here. Okay, it's the second one. And we're going to do the same basic thing. Don't cover your coils. Pull it around, all the way around like this. Okay? Now we're going to make spirals out of those. But we're going to come back here first. Alright. Now, take the 2 back ones, the farthest back ones, the ones at the back, put them straight up at this point. I got to see which ones they are. Okay, put them straight up for now, because those are going to be, we're going to use those to make the bail. Okay, those are what we're going to use to make this. Alright, so we're at this point. Now, we've got the 2 that we just wrapped around. See, they're wrapped around. They're the bottom ones. The next one's up. This one, can you see here that this one is the next one on top? Okay. What I'm going to do is pull that one all the way around to the back. And then I'm going to take the other one that I've not bent yet, and I'm going to take that all the way around to the back. And kind of, they will cross. These 2 will cross. Okay. Now we've got 4 wires down here that are pointing down. 2 are pointing straight up. Okay. This one that we wrapped around, this was like the first one that we, or the second one that we did. It doesn't matter which one we pull around. Pull it around front and pull this one around front. So you've got 2 in front now. Now we're going to make spirals out of these, but if you make a spiral out of it this long, it's going to be a huge spiral, and it's really not going to go, especially since this is really kind of small. So we're going to need to trim these, and we want to trim them to the same length. And we'll need about, maybe an inch or so, about down to your knuckle, or at least my knuckle. And so we're going to snip this one, and then snip this one. Okay. I mean, you may have them perfectly even, but oh, you're a better man than me, or a better woman than me. Okay. Now at this point we're going to do our spirals. So we take this, get as close as we can, and we're going to spiral it inward. We're going to spiral both of them inward. So we're going to take this, we're going to spin it around, and let the wire curl around the point of that until it gets just far enough it's hard to reach. Pull it around again, then replace your pliers so you can do a gentle spiral going up. I gotta take my glasses off, I can't see. I know, isn't that horrible? I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, Now, depending on how long you made it, you could have a spiral that's hanging down here or a spiral that's up. I like mine up. This one I wanted kind of up a little bit. So, okay, do the same thing for this one, which means you're going to take it, you're going to wrap it, you just kind of push, replace these if you have to, go all the way around. And then wrap it tight so it fits. And again, if you want to do them so they hang down, the ones in the back we're going to make longer so they'll hang down. But I wanted the ones in the front to be more up. You can do them lower if you want. All right, now we're in the back. We're going to do a similar thing in the back. We've got these two wires. I'm going to kind of bend them a little bit so they are kind of bowed. All right, so we have these two, and we're going to leave them a little longer, but we are going to even them out. So make sure that when you're cutting these that you're really careful, especially if you don't have glasses on, hang on to it or something, because they do go flying. And if you've got cats or if you walk barefoot in your house, you're especially going to want to be careful about where it goes, because you do not want wire in your foot in the middle of the night, and you don't want a cat getting it inside them. I'm not sure about dogs. Dogs may not have much of a tendency to do that. My dog would never have bothered it, but... Okay, so we're just going to do our spiral. Again, we're trying to get as close as we can because that'll give us the tightest around that mandrel of that one little part of the plier. And then keep pulling it up and pulling it up. If you think it's getting out of hand, if it's going three-dimensional and you want it flat, okay, got fuzz on here, you can use your nylon jaw pliers and just, especially when you're learning, it's real easy with regular pliers or even with those round nose to scratch up your wire. So you hate to scratch it up when you get to this point. Okay, and there you have one nice little curl. Okay, let's get the other one. Some people do these really, really fast. I'm still trying. You know, they don't always come out pretty when I do them because I get in a hurry. But I'm trying to learn to do them a little slower. Take my time. I'm not as fast as those people because they have been doing this for a very long time and I haven't. So, and we just kind of smush them around until they're where we want them. And there we have two pretty little spirals on the back. Now, if you would like to put a stone or something in here, you could actually do that and then do some spirals and wrap it, use the weaving wire to wrap, attach it, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just doing the wire ones. Okay, so now we have it this far. We've got these two left. So we only have two more to go. All right, this one is pretty short. Choose the one that's the shortest for this. Oh, it doesn't really matter because this is a lot longer than we're going to need. This one's a shorter though. I'm going to wrap it around the base, and this is why I said 20 gauge instead of 18 gauge, because if you're new, this part right here would be really hard to do. Wrap around 2 or 3 times around this wire right here. When you end, make sure you end in the back, because the back is where you're going to cut it off. You want to make sure that when you cut it in the back, okay? it just is better not to have your seams showing on the front. Okay, and at this point, oh, here it is. Sorry, it got caught with the camera. And then you'll want to make sure that this is in, so it's not pokey, and you can run your finger over it and make sure it's not. All right, now at this point, people who have been doing this for a long time would snip this off because they know exactly how long they want. For me, I'm still learning again, so what I'm going to do is I don't want this to go straight up. I want it to be I do want it to go straight up, but I want the circle that I'm going to create right here. I want it, you see how it kind of jogs over so that it's balanced in the center? That's really what you want. So in order to do that, we can, now notice I'm using a different part of the round nose pliers because I need it to be a little bigger. Okay, now we're here, we're at this point. Okay, so take your pliers out and replace them. You want it fairly big. It doesn't have to be all the way to the end, but you do want it fairly big because this is going to be your bail. Okay, and pull the wire around. Pull the wire around. And you see what we've got? Now, it's much easier for people like you and me who have not been doing this for very long. At this point, we can cut it off because we want it to be a little shorter. A little shorter because we want to make sure that we can pull this around. Okay. Sorry. Really could have used it a little shorter than that probably, but there we go. Now you could have put a bead here. You could have also not even given it any space there. You could have just pulled it straight over. Either way, but this gives it a little more of a look, so you can put whatever you want in there. You can put a jump ring or one of these little S-rings like I made. You can take that S-ring and put it in there, and I will show you real quick when you're doing the S-rings. Remember that when you're doing S-rings, when you're opening them and closing them, do it this way. Okay? Because that way it doesn't distort the circle of it. But you got to do it far enough you can get that on. So let me try that one more time. There. Okay? And then you just pull it back. Again, this is 20 gauge wire, so it's bending. I can hold it with my fingernail and bend it pretty well. But then there you have it. Okay? Now, honestly, 20 gauge is not going to be quite as durable here as it is with others, with the 18 gauge. So be aware of that. It's not going to stand a lot of real hard tugging. So if you have a heavy pendant, if you've got a stone in it or something, you're probably going to want to use something heavier or wrap it around 2 or 3 times so you end up with a little more solidity here. Okay? So there's one done.